So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the other environmental factor, which is hard to change, is the fact that our grocery stores have a lot more aisles of packaged foods than fresh foods. Have you guys noticed that? So as much as you can, if you can stick towards the outside edges of the store, it does help. Now, the next thing is food manufacturers, they have their way. They're very sneaky in their way that they make you think some of these foods are healthy for you. They help wash the foods. They make them so very important to really know how to read food labels to actually figure out what's in your food. So that's what I wanted to tell you about. But also, while we're talking about shopping in aisles, manufacturers, they pay big money to put their food on eye level of the kids and the adults. Like, if you notice, there are 4 or 5 levels on each grocery store display. Okay, so the last one aisle is usually mostly more healthier kind of foods, but as you go up and up to your eye level, those foods get more junky and more high in sugar, high in fat, because the food manufacturers want them to sell. So our goal going forward for now and for beyond is start looking at food labels. Now, before I get into the food labels and the nutrition facts, I actually want to ask you, what do you look for when you go and look at a food label? So when you look at the nutrition facts, this is the first thing I want you to look at. You look at the serving size, just to get an idea of, because this is what the nutrition facts is going to be all about. So this cup of yogurt may not have only 3/4 cup, but they're going to put the nutrition value of the 3/4 cup. Now, the very important thing you're going to start looking at, instead of remembering numbers for, how much fat I should have, how much cholesterol I should have, how much sodium I should have, it's a simplified version. So Health Canada has actually put things into percentage of how many percent you need in a total day for an average person. So this is what you're going to start looking for, the bold percentage sign on daily value. Okay. And there's a rule. Okay. So there's a 5% and 15% rule. So when anything is 5% or less, it means it's less of that. And anything that's 15% or more, it's a lot of that. Okay. So that means that when you are your target should always be looking for less foods that have less fat, less saturated fat, less trans fat, and less sodium. So when you're going to look at the label, you want these numbers to be 5 or less when you can. And then not all food products will have fiber, vitamin, and calcium depending on the type of food. So if it's something like a bread or a cereal, then you would look for fiber and you want to try to get something that's 15% or higher when you can. It's not always possible, just to let you know, but when you start doing this, when you start comparing labels in the grocery store, you'll realize it's not as easy to find some of these products, but it's a work in progress. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to compare these two crackers. I have cracker A and cracker B. Now, before you do that, just look at the amounts here. So this is per 23 grams, that's 9 crackers. And cracker B is based on 4 crackers, but it's 20 grams. So you can still compare them because they're still 20 grams. They're almost the same weight. So you can compare these two labels. Now, this is where it gets tricky. So you're looking at calories, but then when you have two foods having the same calories, how are you going to make your decision on which one to get? So the cracker A and cracker B, obviously the cracker sizes are going to be different. At the end of the day, both of them are similar in grams, although the number is different, but they are all the same weight. So it could be that cracker A is a little bigger in size or heavier, but they're both almost the same grams. So you can actually compare them as if they're the same. Okay. Now, the next thing what we'll do is look at calories. They're both the same calories. We are assuming that you will eat about 4 crackers or the 9 crackers from each category. You're getting the same weight. And then, so you can actually compare them. Now, this other things that we are going to start looking at is the fat, right? So this one has 7%, so it's more than 5. This is 3. So this cracker B in terms of fat wins over cracker A because it's the same calories with less fat, okay? Moving down, saturated fat is 2, and this is 13. So this would win over cracker A because, again, it's 5% or less in the same weight of the cracker at the end of the day. And then the sodium is again 5% and less. So in my opinion, although cracker B has 1 gram extra sugar in it, but overall it has the same calories, but it has less fat, less sodium. So in general, I would go with this. The other good thing about this one is it has 12% fiber, and this had 4% fiber. So if a cracker is usually for, we eat it as a snack, right? And when you have fiber, you feel fuller. So it's better to have cracker B because even though you're going to eat 4 crackers, you still feel fuller from eating this because of the fiber. Now, if we had a cracker C and it had 15% or maybe 20% fiber, that would be the better one to go for if it had everything else the same as cracker B. So that's what I want when you go grocery shopping and you're going to start choosing foods. These are things you're going to look at. It's going to take a little bit of extra time in the beginning, but what I would do, start with the foods that you have at home. Any foods that are really high on the saturated fat or the sodium, try to go grocery shopping and find replacements for them. And nowadays, even if you can't go grocery shopping, you can go shopping online. You know, all these grocery stores have foods online, and you can actually compare labels and find the one that looks the healthiest to you, and you can go from there. So yes, the calories we are watching and we want them to be reduced, but when you have the option to choose healthier foods, then these are also things that you want to be looking at.
I think the take-home point for everyone to know is that daily value per serving of fat, we should always keep in to take it less than 5%.
Yes. So this is the key message, is looking for these numbers. Ideally, as close to 5 or less than 5 is now. Just when you start grocery shopping, you'll realize very few. Sometimes you're going to be stuck with having something that's higher than 5. But even if that's the case, then I would try to get the lowest end as much as you can, because it's not always completely possible, but generally there's more and more healthy foods coming out, which you can make the change there.